Well, hey there. Didn't see you there. As you know, I'm your host, Danny Giraffa, and today I'm joined by a man that has a pretty cool name and an even cooler business, Mr. Daniel Patton. Beautiful. Now, I'm pretty excited for today because Dan actually excels in a realm that I'm very familiar with, video games. So without any further ado, I'm your host, Danny Giraffa. This man is Daniel Patton, and this is the Oregional Podcast. Dan, man, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for having me, man. This is I'm excited.
Thank you.
I'm very excited.
Dude, I'm excited that you're excited, man. All right, Dan. So you are the owner of Slightlybuffguy's video game Emporium.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about it, man? A little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So my background is management. For the past 5 years, I've been in management, and I've also got a management degree in the past 5 years. So what happened is I had a job and I hated it. I was a general manager, and I'm like, this ain't it. I worked with one of my best friends, and him and I bounced around from job to job together, but that's another story. So we were there. I was a general manager in training, and so was he. And I'm like, bro, this ain't it, man. No. We left B-Dubs and went there together, and excuse me. I was like, bro, this ain't it. Like, you know, he wasn't happy there. I wasn't happy there. I'm like, I think I'm going to take the summer off and just live off my savings account.
Yeah.
He's like, that's not a bad idea. So he actually decided to do the same thing. So it's the summer, because like I wanted to see my kids. I feel like I was missing out on a lot. And I'm like, this summer I'm going to spend with the kids. Like, we're just going to do some stuff. Like, it's going to be awesome. I've never had, I've worked since I was 15 years old.
Yeah. Full
time. You know what I'm saying? And so I took the summer off, and I was just like hanging out or whatever. I'm a gamer, so I was gaming a lot, and what happened is my wife tagged me in this post. My wife was working full time still, supporting us. And she tagged me in this post on Facebook. There was a guy in town selling these video games. And it was like a yard sale type thing. And she tagged me in the post. She was like, hey, check this out. See if there's anything like you like or whatever, you can get. And I'm like, cool. So I messaged the guy right away, and he's selling just all kinds of like Sega Genesis. I have to remember what it was. I think it was like a couple Xbox 360s, a ton of games. And so we went, I went, and I was like, bro, like, how much for it all? And he's like, well, I've got somebody coming to look at some of the stuff that I said they can get. I'm like, that's fine. I was like, whatever they don't buy, I'll buy from you. And so I waited there, and I'm just like, bro, I was throwing out ridiculous numbers. I'm like, for all of it, would you take? I think I said $200. Excuse me. And he said, I was like, well, I want to give them I'm like, that's fine. I'm being an asshole. Like, that's fine. I understand. And so we made a deal, and I got the stuff home, and like I started going through it, and I was like looking up what some of the stuff was worth, and I'm like, bro, this shit's worth some money. Like, yeah. I was like, I could sell this stuff. Like, I have friends who are collectors. I collected in 64 stuff myself, but like I have friends who are collectors too. So I reached out. I'm like, hey, are you interested in buying any of this stuff? And they're like, yeah, I am. I was like, I'm like, come take a look, see what you like, make me an offer or whatever. And so that's kind of what started the business. And then it was late at night one night, and I couldn't sleep. And I was just scrolling either Facebook or TikTok or whatever. And I stumbled upon this guy's videos. The company's called Tronics Fix. And he takes these consoles, mostly like newer generation consoles like PS4, PS5, stuff like that. And he will fix them for people. And he does it for free because he makes his money from his YouTube channel. Yeah. Like, I guess he used to have a business where he did this, but now he's like, I do it for fun. Yeah. And so I watched this guy's video for like 30 minutes. And this is like 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't have to be up for work anymore. So I stay up all night. And so, he's fixing, I want to say a PS4. And, I'm like, bro, I was like, I think I could do this.
Yeah.
I'm like, he makes it look easy. Spoiler alert, it's not easy.
Nope.
But he made it look really easy. So I bought a broken PS4, and shortly after I bought that big lot from that guy, and I wanted to try to fix it.
Yeah.
And I did, and I sold it for a lot of money. Like I think I paid I don't know, $20 for it. And I fixed it, and I sold it for like $150 real fast.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, like I think I could do this as for a living. And that's kind of what started the whole business. Kind of those two. And another thing too was that when I was at my last job, I looked into. I had a business plan together. I was going to open a coffee shop, kind of like the one in Cherville, the Coffee Cabin.
Yeah. Okay.
Kind of like the same concept. And so I had a business plan together. I actually purchased an LLC. Like it was all in the works. And I realized I don't have enough money to start this business. Mm-hmm. So I had the LLC though. And so what I talked to my old lady, and I'm like, hey, I think I could do this, and she's like, whatever you want to do. Cause I manage my money really well.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should mention this on the podcast just in case she listens to it. She's probably not going to, but we manage. Yeah. Avert your eyes and ears, honey. We keep our money separate because we manage money differently.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key to success in my marriage, to be honest with you. If you want marriage advice, then that's what I'd give you.
Beautiful. Hey.
So I was like, I think I could do this. And she's like, that's fine. You're good at, making money, on side hustles. Anyway, I've been doing that for a long time.
Man.
And, she's like, that's fine. If that's what you want to do, if you can pay your bills, go for it. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much how it all started.
That's incredible, man. And it just started off as a hobby too, right? You had no experience in doing it beforehand.
Well, so one summer many years ago, I did buy and sell video games.
Okay.
On definitely a smaller scale. It was kind of so like I love going to pawn shops. Like it's one of my favorite activities to do in life. Like that's who I am as a person. And I love going to rummage sales also.
Dude.
One time when I wasn't on vacation, I was in Florida training for a job, and I was out there for I think 3 weeks, and I had 3 days off in a row. So what I did is I rented a BMW. Like that's something I never purchased for myself. So I'm let me spend a little money. Let me rent a BMW. And I just went to every pawn shop within like 4 major cities.
Wow.
And it's like one whole day. Like I woke up super early, like hit the gym, and then and like I'm telling my wife that, she's like, that's what you're doing on vacation? I'm like, well, it's not vacation. I'm out here working. And so I've always loved pawn shops and rummage sales. So I'm trying to think of what started that little side business years ago. I stumbled upon a few video games, and I looked them up and saw what they were selling for. I bought them at the rummage sale, sold them on, this was probably Craigslist at the time.
Wow.
And this was, like I said, probably about 5 or 6 years ago. So I did it for a summer, just made a little extra money.
Yeah.
And then, I have a vast video game knowledge from being old and, a gamer. So, but so I have done this before. It was kind of like a hobby. Yeah. Like you said.
Definitely. And that's something else to mention too. So not only do you repair video game consoles, but you also sell video games themselves, right? Yeah.
So the majority of the money I make is from game sales. When I first decided to like quote unquote get serious about this, I started buying like crazy.
Yeah.
I was burning up my savings account buying video games, and I met there was a couple people who like hooked me up. Like there was this dude I met. And like the connections I'm making with this business are amazing. And we can talk about that in a second. So I met this dude named Bob, and Bob was like, hey man, like I have a lot of video games. And he was like cool as fuck. Like he's a dad. He's like, trying to do like, he has his daughters in homeschool. And so we connected on that level. Like he's a friend of mine now. And he was like, I have this box full of video games. He was like, I think he said like $140 for the box. And I'm like, bro, that's a good deal. Like, yeah, I'll be right there. And he's like, well, so here's the thing is like, if we can, if we're both happy with this agreement, I have a ton more. I'm like, bro, I'm very happy with this price that you're giving me. So, I bought it, took it home, and then a week later, he's like, okay, I dug out another box.
Wow.
And he's like, 140. And like, I try to, buy video games to where I can sell and make a profit. Obviously, I'm in business to make money, and like, I'm still selling his games. Like, they're doing well for me.
Right.
That's how I make the majority of my money. I still do repairs. Like newer gen consoles. The older gen consoles never need repaired.
Yeah.
Like I bought every Nintendo I've purchased over the summer, no issues.
Wow.
There was only one, a Nintendo 64, that didn't work, but it looked like it had been ran over by a truck.
Oh.
So I'm like, I guess it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I did try to fix it, but I couldn't.
Oof.
But yeah, like newer gen consoles I repair, and then the majority of the money the business makes is from selling the video games and the consoles, reselling.
Incredible, man. So also too, with the video games that you buy, are you looking for specific ones? Like more games that are on the rarer level, or just any video game?
I mean, I'm after those like holy grails, the home runs, if you will. But I like buying video games. Like it makes me so happy. Like I made a TikTok one day. I think I was sitting in my computer chair and I'm just, scrolling Marketplace, and this lady posted a Nintendo for $20. And what I do is when I get a Nintendo, I upgrade the pin connector, which is I think a $7 part right around there, and I'll sell it for $100. So I messaged this lady. I'm like, hey, I can come right now. Like I have cash, I can come right now. And because I don't have a real job, so at any time I can go buy video games. It's a beautiful thing. And she's like, yeah, sure. She starts asking me questions, to find out if I'm a real person, which is fair because I've dealt with some scammers. Excuse me. And then, so she had other stuff for sale too. She had some Ataris, and I told myself I wasn't going to mess with Atari just because I don't know enough about it. But all her stuff was cheap. And I was like, listen, lady, I'll buy it all. Like anything you have for sale over there, like I'll buy. So I go over there and, I'm going through it. This is the nicest condition Nintendo I've come across.
No way.
So like I have my oldest son helps me in the business to give him a little money. And he's like, Dad, I've never seen one that color. I'm like, this is the color they're supposed to be, bro.
Oh, man.
Like this is the gray. This is how it's supposed to look. This is how it looked when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? So I scooped that deal. And while I was there, I was like, hey, like, do you have any other games lying around that, you might want to sell or get rid of? And her husband, I'm talking to her husband at this point. He's like, yeah, I got some up in a tote. I'm like, yeah, if you want to get rid of them, do you mind if I take a look? And he busts out this tote, bro. There was, first of all, there wasn't a speck of dust on this stuff. There was some Super Nintendo games, some Wii games, and a few Nintendo games in there. And like, at this point, I'm freaking out because I feel like I've robbed them already. That's a what, 500% profit on the Nintendo alone. So I feel like I'm taking advantage of these people, but like, I'm telling myself, Danny, keep it together. Like, just make them an offer that like they'll be happy with, I'll be happy with. And so what I do is I look up, there's a website where you can check the price of games.
Definitely.
And it's rock solid. 95% of the time, it's right.
Wow.
Like, this is what this game sells. What it essentially does is searches eBay, and it's like, okay, this game is selling for this much now. So this game is worth this much. So I looked up a few games. I'm like, okay, like, there's some value here. Well, like anything Mario, Zelda, like that shit sells. I've got some Mario, Zelda tattoos. So I was like, this is awesome. I was like, I always ask people, like, what do you want for it? Yeah. I don't want to be the first to throw out a number. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's like an old sales trick or something, but like, I'm like, what do you want? He's like, oh, just make me an offer. And in my head, I think of like 2 or 3 numbers. Like, I want to be within this range and this range. Yeah. I was like 100, 120 is the max I'd pay. I'd still make money, quite a bit of money. I was like, would you take $80? He's like, yeah, that's fine. I'm like, yo, let's go. Bro, so I'm driving home from this place and I'm like making this TikTok and I'm just screaming, I'm like, oh my God, I just got it. And I'm like, it doesn't even make any sense.
Oh.
So I didn't remember the point of that story, but that was one of the highlights of my career.
That's what I'm saying, man. Oh, man. And actually, so kind of picking up back on the you mentioned, like sales experience and stuff, man. It's so funny because before we started recording this, we actually knew each other years ago without even realizing. And it's because my mom and he were actually friends, and it's like, yeah, he said, your mom's name's Shannon, right? And I was like, yeah, she is. And then, I went into this whole thing where it was like, yeah, I met her at Bass Pro, and I was like, oh my God, I know you, man. And dude, oh my gosh, man, it's a small world, my friends. It's a small world.
That's hilarious. I'm still surprised that you remembered me, because you were like 7 or 8.
Yeah, real small, man.
Remember this weird guy at Bass Pro? Is that that's a core memory you have?
Oh man, a core memory. Some things, I don't know, man. Some things just stick with you without even realizing, man. But the reason I brought that up too, you mentioned that you think of it from a sales perspective. So back then you were selling timeshares and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that that's actually come back to help you in what you do nowadays?
Maybe. I wasn't good at that job, to be honest. I was horrible at it, to be honest. After that job, I realized I'm not good at sales. I'm horrible at it. Like there's skills that you need to be good at sales. Like my best friend sells cars, and he's good at it. Like he tries to sell me cars all the time. Like, bro, I have cars. You don't need to sell me cars. I'm not good at it. But I think that like my background in customer service has helped.
Yeah.
And just like, I'm not trying to brag or toot my own horn here, but like I'm a likable person. People like, I have regular, like I said, I managed at Beat-Ups for 3 years. Like I made a lot of friends, like who still like there's a buddy who's a plumber. He owns his own plumbing company, but he does work for me for free at my house. These are the kind of connections I want to have. You know what I'm saying? Plumbing is expensive. But yeah, I think my background in customer service has definitely helped. I've worked in restaurants my whole life, damn near. So I think that helps. And I try to take care of people. Like that's always been one of, like my management philosophies.
Yeah.
I think that's rule number 1 in management. If you're a manager, take care of the people who take care of you. Like definitely. My team, if they're being taken care of, they're gonna bust their ass. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna get the job done. So I think like that philosophy has kind of essentially helped sell stuff. Like even like most of the sales are like via text. Yeah. But I try to like, hey, have a nice day. Thanks for reaching out, stuff like that. Yeah. 'Cause that stuff goes a long way.
It does.
There's so much like negativity and like bullshit in the world. Like, bro, I want to brighten somebody's day a little bit. Yeah. Potentially. I mean, they're buying video games. I love buying video games. You know what I'm saying? Like, hopefully this like unlocks a piece of nostalgia for you. You're like, oh my God, I remember, like I'm 7 years old again playing this, Nintendo game. Dude. So I think the customer service kind of helps
definitely
sell video games.
Dude, it goes a long way indeed, my friend.
Agreed.
So actually, to kind of running back to the business side of
Sure.
things, man, do you do all of your work strictly from your own place? Like, do people need to physically bring you the systems or like anything like that? Or do you do like a shipping service as well?
So I definitely do both. I just got... The majority of my business lately has been all shipping. Mm-hmm. It's just from like making connections. Like there was this guy I was talking to in I think one of the Nintendo groups I'm in on Facebook. And he was talking about, I got this deal at an estate sale. And so like, I was like, hey bro, I'm about to go to my first estate sale this weekend. Like any pointers, any tips? And we talked, for hours, just bullshitting and talking about Nintendo and stuff and estate sales. And after a while, he was like, well, I might sell this stuff I bought. He's like, are you interested? I'm like, absolutely. He was like, well, make me an offer. So I went through it and, I priced it all out and I was like, I'll give you $130 for it. He's like, well, I might hold on to it for a while, but, I appreciate it, maybe in the future. Well, anyway, a week ago, he hit me up. He's like, Brian, I need some money. He's like, I'm like, yeah, $130? He said, yeah. Excuse me. So I'm like, done. It was a nice Nintendo lot. So buying this stuff makes me so happy if you can't tell already. Yeah. So there's Nintendo games. They're called 5-screw games. They're like the oldest ones. And they're generally like worth more, more sought after. And I bought a couple 5-screw games from this guy. And like, I'm just, I'm making these TikToks, like I said, just screaming at the top of my lungs. And yeah, so like that connection was online. I have had people come to my house to sell me video games. Most of the time I go to people. Yeah. Just until my plan is to next year open up a storefront.
Wow.
That's the goal. So like I'm working towards that. Honestly, I would do it right now, but my wife said maybe wait till my youngest is in starts kindergarten.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm like, I don't like that, but you make sense and you make a good point. So, so next year I'm gonna open a storefront, and then the majority of the business will be there. But yeah, I have had people come to my home, look through. There was a guy I met, and this was like right when I started. He saw my post, and for a month, every Friday when he got paid, he would come over and like look through what I had. I'm like, bro, you're my best customer. Like keep following my page. Like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, like, and there was one time I drove, I'm trying to think of the farthest I drove. Oh, I drove to LaPorte. Ooh. And which is, I live far, about 30 minutes from you.
Yeah.
So LaPorte is out there. And I had my son with me, and he can be content for about, let's say 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he'll start losing his mind, kind of like I would. And so I drove out to LaPorte and I bought this thing, and I'm pumped. It was a rare Sega Game Gear. It was a blue one. I've never seen it before. And I got it home. I'm like, this thing don't work. I tested it, and the thing that pissed me off is like, they posted it for $30. I'm like, bro, I'll be right there. And they're like, well, they can meet you tomorrow. And that sometimes causes an issue because people will change their mind, or somebody will offer them more money or whatever. And then later that night, she was like, she was selling it for somebody. She's like, they don't want to sell anymore. And I'm like, well, I'll pay more. Because I'll pay more than the $30. So they sold for $200 at the time. So I was like, I'll do $80. And she's like, okay. So I go, I pick it up, I take it home, and it doesn't work. And I'm like, bro, it's like your boy took an L today.
Man.
But so I still haven't fixed it yet. I have all the parts, I just haven't gotten around to it. But that was the farthest I drove to. And then one time I drove to Munster, and that was that was a good haul. Like, I bought an N64 from that guy, Dreamcast. Dreamcasts are highly sought after, hard to find.
Yeah.
Harder, not not extremely rare, but
yeah.
I also bought from that guy a watermelon N64 controller. It's like the see-through one, bro. And like, I'm driving home. I think I was on the Harley that day too. I'm driving home, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, I can't believe I got this shit. Like, oh, man. Just like, and I'll call my wife, and like, she's not a gamer at all. And it's like, honey, you're not gonna believe what I got. She's like, she's like enthusiastic, because she's supportive, but she doesn't know what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm saying, man. And I'm glad that you bring that up too, man, because like, obviously video games are for everybody, man.
Right.
But for those that are into them, man, it means so much to them.
Right.
It could be a breakaway from the stresses of life, man. Dude, personally for me, I love video games because I like to play a lot of like single player games for the story and everything, man, because I do videos and stuff outside. Sure. So it's like, video games mean something different to each person.
Yeah.
Man, breaking away from business and stuff, man. What video games are you into, man?
So I like, right now I'm playing Fortnite, like every middle-aged dad in America, I feel like, when they put the kids in bed, play a little Fortnite. I like Fortnite. I like simulator games.
Yeah.
I'm a PC gamer now. Gang, baby. You know about that PC life. Oh, yeah. American Truck Sim. I've played for a long time. Like, I got a steering wheel, stick shift, like the whole 9 for it. Dude. Because I have adult money now. Like, I can buy dumb stuff like that. But I also like the older stuff. Like, so like I said, my wife is not a gamer. Whatever the opposite of a gamer is. It's smart, I guess. I don't know. Like, college educated, stuff like that.
Responsible.
Yes. So she tried playing Fortnite one time. Oh, it was bad. Because like my kids are all gamers now, and I hope she's not watching this. This was on PS4. She couldn't move the gun at the same time. I'm like, this ain't for you, honey. Like, I appreciate the effort. Like, you want to be involved with what we do, but like, this ain't for you. So what I did was I busted out a Super Nintendo, and I'm like, hey, honey, like, let's try this game together.
Yeah.
Give me like 10 minutes. If you don't like it, that's fine. We'll, cuddle up on the couch and watch a movie or whatever. And it was Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Have you played Zombies Ate My Neighbors?
Briefly, it was weird. I played on it was a PSP actually that was modded.
Yeah,
so,
nice.
Dude.
Yeah,
so I played.
I was like, honey, give it a shot. If you don't like it, we'll do something else or whatever.
Yeah.
Bro, she was like, this is awesome. Because like it's simplified. Video games back in the day were a lot simpler, and she could handle it.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, I was like, honey, we can do this every night for the rest of our lives. Just for the record, we bust out some Mario games or whatever. So yeah, I like my favorite console though is the N64. I don't know if the video is going to show it, but I've got an N64 tattoo. I've got a Mario. I've got some random Zelda. Zelda is one of my favorite series. Here, my 3 favorite series, and I want to know what games you play too. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
my top 3 favorite series are Metal Gear Solid.
Okay.
Love Metal Gear Solid. The single player gameplay is just amazing. Mario is up there. Zelda is probably number. I don't know. I don't want to rank them. Zelda. I love the Zelda series, and then another series I love is Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
I've logged so many hours on GTA 5. It's ridiculous.
Oh.
So what? I want to know what games you're into.
Oh, dude. So like I was saying, I'm really into like story-driven games.
Sure.
One of my favorite ones is The Last of Us, which, unironically, underneath this hoodie or whatever, man, I'm wearing a Last of Us shirt.
Nice.
So it's like, yeah, I didn't even mean to today, man.
That's awesome.
But the God of War games,
Yeah.
dude. There was a new one that came out that dude, it's so crazy to me, man, because video games, they started simple, man.
Yes.
Just little pixels and stuff. You jump over, you hop on a mushroom, dude. But now I feel like they've grown to such a crazy, outlet for people to tell stories. Like there's crazy gameplay, the stuff you can do, man. Freaking VR and stuff too, man.
Yes.
Dude, it's like it's a scary but a cool thing, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, man, I think more than anything, I love games that just they move you, man. Like
Yeah.
That's why I love those series so much. Is because like The Last of Us, there was something really, really personal with me where like the main character, he loses his daughter. It's a zombie apocalypse. You fast forward 20 years and stuff, man. And then he ends up coming across this girl who ends up being, immune to the virus. And, you see them and they hate each other at first, but then they grow this bond as a father and a daughter, like a surrogate stepdad pretty much.
Sure.
So for me, it resonated a lot because that's how it was for me. I had my stepdad come into my life and, without him, I don't think I would be the person I am today, you
Nice,
know, man.
man.
So like it just resonated with me.
Sure.
And same with like the God of War games. That's what you're kind of leaning on these days. It's like that father-son bond. So it's crazy the way that who would have thought, like 40 years ago that video games would be what they are today,
Right.
man, so I know it's not for everybody. I don't mean to get all mushy too on this, man, but
No, I love it.
dude, but yeah, so that's what I'm into, man.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, single player video games are a lot of fun. I haven't gotten into one in a while, but I think I want to start replaying the old games again.
Yeah.
Like I started, I played a few Nintendo 64 games recently, and I was like, man, I miss this. And there's a couple of games that I would go back and play, 1,000 times, like Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah.
And I think it's like a nostalgia thing also. Like it's a good game, obviously, but like I remember, I pretty much spent summers at my uncle's house, and he worked me like a
dog.
Yes. Like he worked me. And then but I had a buddy who lived down the road from there, and he had a PlayStation, and he showed me Metal Gear Solid. And dude, so whenever I'd sneak away from my uncle's house, I'd go to his house and we'd just be in the basement playing Metal Gear Solid for hours. And I'm like, this is the best. This is my best life. This is it. So yeah, so I could definitely go back and play those games. So I think that's going to be the plan here soon. But it's one of the things is my game time now is I'm trying to build this business.
Yeah.
But like yesterday, my brother, I have a brother who lives in Seattle. Actually, his wife messaged me hey, Brad's been down in the dumps a little bit lately. They got a lot going on without getting too much into their story.
Yeah.
And she's like, can you make time to game with him? And I'm like, well, I can't today. I have, I'm going out with my buddies. I was like, and I got a lot of stuff to do tomorrow, but maybe Wednesday. She was like, there's no way you can game today. I was like, yeah, I'll carve an hour out for him.
Yeah.
And you know, it blows my mind. Like, I never thought that many people were gamers.
Yeah.
But like now that I'm like in this world like that, like I feel like not everybody, but like everybody's a gamer. You know what I'm saying? Like, and what surprises me is that like, you know, because like if you think of like, you know, like you said, your stepdad or like my dad growing up, my dad didn't play video games.
Yeah.
I didn't know any adult who did.
Right.
But like now we're the adults and we play video games all the time. Like it's crazy. I don't know. It's just crazy to think about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude. No, I'm right there with you, man. And you know, I think it's good too that you bring that up, is because like, you know, kind of going back to what we were talking about before, man. Video games mean so much to people without even realizing, I think, man.
Yep.
You know, and like obviously everything's good in moderation and stuff.
Sure,
you know,
sure.
It's easy to get sucked into that world, man. But you know, even something as simple as hopping on with, you know, your friends and stuff,
Yeah.
man. Especially when you're like down or like, you know, you're going through stuff, man. You just have that little bit of release and like, you know, you get together. So it's like, I don't know. It's therapeutic in a sense.
It is.
Even
Absolutely.
even though like, for example, I've, you know, it's the same thing. I can't game as much lately because I'm trying to do this, man.
Sure.
But whenever I do, usually I'll play like, you know, Warzone or Fortnite and stuff with my buddies. And it's like, wow, you know, this feels good. And then we die like 2 minutes into the game, and it's like, oh my God,
Why do I even play this, dude? Why am I wasting my time, man?
but you know, and then you get a dub, and it's like, okay, it wasn't really all that bad. So it's like, oh my God, man, you love it and you hate it.
Yep, nailed it.
Oh my God, man, dude, that's incredible, man.
Yeah,
Dude.
so I gotta tell you, where the name came from.
Yes, please.
So Slightlybuffguy is like my gamer tag, and I use it for everything. But the name came from, so I think it was about 10 years ago. I was a personal trainer at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like really buff. I was like real buff. And the dudes I worked out with were like, they played Call of Duty every night. After, you know, they would go to the gym in the evening, I'd work out with them. And then they, you know, I'll go home and they all play Call of Duty. They're like, bro, you should play with us. So I bought an Xbox 360 and I got Call of Duty. And I'm like, what's my name going to be? I'm like, Slightlybuffguy. I'm like, I think that's hilarious. And then, so that, like I said, this was 10 years ago. And then like anytime I've made an account since then, like I played Clash of Clans for like 5 years. I was Slightlybuffguy. And just everything now. Like I was streaming for a little while on Facebook and, you know, Slightlybuffguy. So it's just like, it's stuck with me, and I love the name. I think it's hilarious. It's so funny.
Dude, that's incredible. I love that too, man. It's a catchy name, you know, it's unique, it's funny.
Right.
You gotta have fun with that kind of stuff,
You get it.
man.
You get it.
How was your journey streaming, man? Like, do you see that being something that you'll come to back later on, and you know, once you have everything kind of settled in? Or?
Yeah, so I loved it. Like, it was so much fun. It was more, I feel like it was more therapeutic than just gaming.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, I didn't gain a huge following, but I had like, you know, a handful of people who would jump in the stream every night or whatever, and just like, hey, you know, what's up? How's it going? And they'd talk trash to me the whole time, which is fine because I'm horrible at gaming. Like, you know, I dedicate my life to this, but I'm not good at it. Like every other middle-aged dad out there, we're not good.
Hey, man. Hey, but if it works, it works, man.
Right.
Dude.
So there was one guy who, so I started on Facebook, and then I got in trouble. I got in Facebook jail. And like, if you're a streamer on Facebook and you get in Facebook jail, like they like throw the hammer at you.
Wow.
Like I couldn't stream for, I think 30 days.
Wow.
I'm like, Facebook, come on, man, please. Like, please.
Don't do
so I know. And so I switched to Twitch, and I had people who were complete strangers to me at the time follow me to Twitch. And I'm like, bro, this shit blows my mind that like somebody who's a complete stranger would fully support me like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I did Twitch for a little while, and then I went back to Facebook because Twitch is hard to gain an audience on for a new streamer. Mm-hmm. Don't let me discourage anybody though. If you're trying to grind out Twitch or Facebook, go for it. But so, and this guy, you know, he followed me back to Facebook, and once I was allowed to have subscriptions, you know, paid subscriptions, he was the first person.
Wow.
And like I remember, so like I would stream from like 9 p.m. till 11 p.m., maybe midnight every not every night, but like 4 nights a week. And I remember when he subbed, I went in the bedroom and woke my wife up. I'm like, honey, you're not gonna believe this. And she's like, I got to work tomorrow. What do you want?
Oh no.
I'm like, this dude just like sub to me, like he pays $5 a month. She's like, cool, honey, all right, I'll go back to bed. That's fine. Somebody's got to support us, though.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Dude, I love that your wife is so supportive.
Bro,
too,
she
man.
is. And like, so there was one day, it's Thanksgiving. So I have a lot of stuff on eBay. Like the majority of my sales are online. And I have a lot of stuff on eBay. And for whatever reason, Thanksgiving, I was just selling like nonstop. And so like, I'll be in, on my computer or in the garage or something, and I'll get, eBay's like, oh, you sold an item. I'm like, honey, I sold another video game. And she's like, cool, honey. like she doesn't care, but like she's supportive, you know what I mean? So like, I feel like once an hour on Thanksgiving, I'm like, honey, another one. She's like, cool.
Oh man, dude, that's awesome. Though, man. Dude, kind of going back to like what you were talking about earlier about like, her trying on Zombies Ate My Neighbors, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into some marital advice and relationship advice, ladies and gentlemen. But I think that's so important. And it obviously goes both ways, but to come to a compromise to where like, maybe it's not something that you're into and stuff, but you try it out because you love these people. And if it means something to them, then you want to try to support them in everything that they do with that,
Yep.
And it's the same thing for like streamers and stuff too, man. It's crazy because a lot of people that I went to high school with, now they're trying the streaming game.
Sure.
And it's oversaturated and everything.
It is.
You got to really be niche and stuff, man. But even if it's something as simple as a share, man, like they're out there trying to have a good time, trying to do their thing, man. So it's like, just help them out, man.
Yeah.
Just give them a share, even if you can't donate any money or anything, man. A little bit goes a long way.
Agreed, man. And like one thing I try to do is like, I wouldn't even say he's a buddy. Like he used to be good friends with my brother in like elementary school.
Yeah.
So like, I think we grew up at the same trailer park and stuff. And he's getting into streaming. And he reached out to me. He's like, hey, like I need help setting up this and setting up that. So I walked him through like how to set it up or whatever. And what I'll do is like, in the evenings, I put the kids to bed and that's when I do the majority of my work. So I can actually focus on my work. And so he goes live around that time. So what I'll do is I'll put his stream on and just leave it on, whether I'm watching it or listening to it or not. Because like that stuff helps them. Yeah. And like you said, like a like or a share or, depending on the platform, that stuff goes a long way. Mm-hmm. And I was always grateful for the support that I had of the likes and shares. So
definitely.
Agreed, man.
Oh,
support your people.
Yes.
That's rule number one.
Rule number one, man. Dude, so I was also in that field for a little bit, man. I was so pumped, I was like, dude, it's going to be incredible. And most of the time it would just be like, I don't know, like my friend that I would game with, it'd be like his little brother and stuff. And it's like, I could always count on them to like hop in on the stream, man. I was like, all right, thank you, buddy. I love you, man. Right. But even if it's not, you don't need millions of followers to have it mean something to you, man. And even like how it is with this podcast right now, man. Obviously, I have a lot of room to improve on. I kind of started this out on a whim and everything, man. But it's like, whenever people like and share it and everything, like words can't express how grateful I am.
Sure.
And, obviously, I'm not chasing for anything. Like, I don't really want anything out of this other than to help people. Like, dude, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Especially like, you're giving a platform for people like I feel like I have good exposure on Facebook. I have like 2,200 friends and like a lot of supportive people. But like, somebody else who comes on this podcast like might not have that exposure that I have.
Right.
And like the fact that you're doing this, like obviously you want it to benefit you, obviously. But like the fact that it's potentially going to benefit a lot of people. Like that's awesome. I want to tell you a story. Yeah, man. Good job. Keep it up, man. Like,
thank you, man.
Stay consistent. I think that's the most important thing with anything. But I was in one of these groups, like a Facebook group, and somebody was like, "Hey, does anybody have any DS games for sale? My dad has cancer. He's doing chemo or whatever." And I was like, "Bro, delete the post." I was like, "I'll send you all the DS games I have that I think he would like."
Yeah.
Like, I have this opportunity to help people also, and I'm going to take full advantage of it. Like that shit made my day.
Yeah.
Like, and I hope, and like, so like I friended this guy on Facebook. I'm like, bro, like I'm invested at this point. Like, please keep me updated.
Yeah.
I was like, if I get any more like adult themed DS games, cause his dad was a little older.
Oh yeah.
I'll send them your way, man. Like, he's like, what I owe you? I'm like, bro, not a dime.
Yeah.
Like I'm very blessed. Like I said, my wife does well financially. We do well financially. I was like, I have an opportunity to give back, and I'm going to do that. So,
wrong one. What I meant to do was,
there we go.
kudos to you, man.
Yeah.
Dude, but no, that's honestly what it's all about, man, is, you got to help out however you can, man, and like, you don't need to necessarily get anything from it. Sometimes it could just be the satisfaction of knowing that you tried helping someone, man. Like, teamwork does make the dream work, so anything that you can do to help out, even if it's something as a click to share something, I don't know, it goes a long way, man.
Absolutely. Going back to being consistent, I want to tell you this story too. So there was I had a cook at B-Dubs. Like I said, I was there for 3 years. This guy, I think he's on year 10 there now. He's a cook. And this dude is the GOAT. Like, I was his boss. Like, I was his boss's boss. But, like, if you have a question about something, you go to this guy.
Yeah.
Like, I go to this guy. And, like, him and I would talk. He wasn't a very talkative person. But him and I had some things in common. Like, he liked guns, and I love guns also. So we had that in common. And so I'd be like, bro, let's talk about guns. Like, and I built a rapport with him, and he taught me this thing. Cause at the time he was trying to buy a house, and I had just bought a house, and I'm like, here's the thing. I was like, I was like, you're probably gonna have to sacrifice for a little while. Mm-hmm. That's what I did. I just save up a ton of money. I sacrificed, I didn't go out to eat, or, whatever it was that I cut out to save the money to buy this house. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I promise you, like, if this is what you want, it will be worth it.
Yeah.
Like, once you achieve this. And then he made me realize, and I'll never forget this lesson. He was like, if you stay consistent in whatever it is, the gym, or, like you starting this out, like me, me with my business. If I stay consistent and I show up every day and I grind it out, consistency is the most important thing, more than like motivation, more than anything else. And I was like, bro, that's some deep shit, my guy.
Oh,
like,
man.
yeah, I still keep in touch with this dude. Like, he's the man. Like, I've learned from him. I hope he's learned from me. You know, and it's just like staying consistent. I think that, like, that's just one of those life lessons that translates to pretty much anything.
Definitely. Not only is he cooking up the dishes, he's cooking up the wisdom.
Right, bro. Right.
Dude, that's incredible, man. Dude. Wow.
Yeah.
Deep stuff, man.
I know, right? I didn't plan on getting that deep here. Just talking about video games and shit.
No, but it's stuff like this that people need to hear, man.
Yeah.
Especially and that was a big reason why I wanted to start this too, man, is to show that, it is possible, and it's going to take sacrifice, like you said, man.
Sure.
But as long as you stick with it and, you're putting time and effort into it, man, you do a little bit at a time and you push forward, man. And who knows where it'll take you, man.
Yeah. And I just want to say, support your friends' businesses. Support this man.
Thank you. Support this man.
Thank you. So one thing this summer was my radio went out on my Harley.
Oh.
And I love my Harley. And I like listening to music when I ride.
Definitely.
And so I think I posted on Facebook like, hey, does anybody have a radio for sale or something like that? And I had a friend of mine reach out to me who also owns a business. And he's like, I got one, you can have it for free. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, come to the shop and get it. So I went and picked it up. And like, when I first had my original business idea, I reached out to him. I'm like, hey, bro, like, can you meet with me? Like, let me buy you lunch or dinner and like, let me pick your brain. He's like, yeah, man, absolutely. So we met. He actually bought the lunch. He's like, you're not buying. And I'm like, bro, I'm getting stuff from you. Like, let me at least, buy you this meal. And like the things that this guy does for the community, like, blows my mind. I'm going to mention his name and his business. His name is Chris Smith. He owns Rocks Towing, and they're based out of Griffith.
Wow.
And like, I'm like, bro, you inspire me. Like, I want to be that guy.
Yeah.
They were doing fundraising for, like, we went to high school together. They were doing fundraising for the school, and he's there. He's like, what do you need? How can I help? I'm like, bro, like, I hope that, like, I'm there one day. Like, I'm that guy. I'm, helping, I prefer to help my small town I live in now because they would need more help. But, I just like that shit inspires me. You know what I'm saying? And that shit inspires other people.
Yeah.
So like if you're grinding out a business and you're like, why the fuck am I doing this? Like keep grinding it out. Like it'll be worth it in the end. You know what I'm saying?
It's beautiful. Yeah. And that's another important thing, man, is to try to be the best version of yourself every day, man.
Agreed.
Outside of business, just you work on yourself because it's going to help out in the long run, man.
Agreed.
And there are bumps in the road,
Agreed.
Some things are easier to get past than others, but oh man, it's getting super deep, man.
And having a supportive spouse helps significantly too.
Absolutely.
My wife, I have these crazy ideas all the time, like just all these crazy business ideas. For a while, I was doing stock trading, day trading, and like this stuff consumes my life. When she's like, you have ADHD and it's you get like hyperfixation on stuff, and I'm like, you're right, I do, and I'm sorry, but I can't help it. And she's just like on board for whatever it is, like whatever like crazy idea I have next. She's like, yeah, okay, we can do that.
Perfect, man.
It's awesome.
I love that, man.
It's amazing.
Love that. So before we close off, man, I just want to ask, do you have any other advice for people that are trying to start their own businesses or, trying to start their own ventures, man?
Yeah, I'd say if you're starting out, what I did was, I haven't paid myself yet from this business.
Yeah.
Which I don't recommend, but you might have to do that.
Right.
So like I said, I bought a ton of video games, over the summer and broken consoles and stuff. And, I'm still in the red. Like I haven't made any money yet. Mm-hmm. Well, this month I did, but just like form an LLC that protects your assets. Like, so I own a home. I own a beautiful Harley that you saw me pull up on. We have 2 cars. It's beautiful. So we have 2 cars. So when you form an LLC, it protects that stuff.
Yeah. So
like if somebody sues my business, they'll just sue Slightlybuffguy's Video Game Emporium and not
you.
They can't come after my house. Yeah. And it's, I think that generally people are good and I you don't have to worry about that thing, but just in case.
Yeah.
So form an LLC and then set up a business account.
Definitely.
To keep the business money separate from, your personal money. Mm-hmm. And another thing, I don't want to discourage anyone, but it's a lot of work. And like, I heard people have told me that all my life, be a business owner, you'll work every day, all day.
Right.
And I was like, holy cow, I work all the time now. Like, and don't get me wrong, like I love it. Like I love what I do. And the fact that I can work for myself is awesome, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But, like we talked about, stay consistent. And I truly believe that, I think I'm going to do this until I retire.
I love that, man.
And like I have plans. Like I'm definitely a forward thinker.
Yeah.
I talked to my wife yesterday. I think in August I'm going to open up a storefront. And that's mostly because like I said, the majority of my business is online, so I don't necessarily need a storefront. Yeah. But for like repairs, I think it'd be nice.
Oh yeah.
Like just bring it to the shop. You know what I'm saying? Type thing. And then I just want to grow this business. Like I want to, be able to employ my children, like, teach them valuable skills that I've learned in the past, 36 years.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like where, like we talked about everything I'm doing right now, but like that's the future of the business. Yeah. That's the goal. That's the plan. So.
Ooh, man, I wish you all the best.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
You can do this, man.
Thanks, man.
Anybody can do this, man.
Yeah. Agreed.
Dude, oh man. But yes, dude. And also kind of going with that too, it's always important to also make time for yourself.
Agreed.
You don't want to work yourself too hard, but you do want to put that effort in. Anything that's worth it in life is going to take time, energy, effort, money. But, at the end of the day, you also need to make sure that you keep yourself in check and don't lose out on opportunities. Like you're going to miss so much if you just hyper focus on everything, man. So keep time for the business, time for family and, your personal stuff. We'll make it, my friends.
Agreed. I'm glad you brought that up. So what I do is, like I said, I haven't been gaming as much, but my release is the gym. I go to, there's a gym in town, and I'll, my wife hates that I spend so much time at the gym, but I'll spend a couple hours.
Yeah.
Like I get there, I stretch, and it's like, that's the release for me.
Yeah.
Like I clear my head. I don't worry about all the bullshit I have to do when I get home. I take 10, 15 minutes, I stretch, like some yoga poses in there to kind of like, center myself or whatever. I don't know what yoga, like I've never studied yoga. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but, and then I'll warm up, jump on the bike for 10 minutes. I'll lift, and then I'll do some cardio, and it's like 4 or 5 days a week, like a couple hours.
Dude.
And that's how any other time I'm working, but like the gym is like
your zen.
Yes,
your
my
peace,
release,
man.
keeps me normal.
Definitely.
It's my therapy.
Man, it's crazy too, man. I just recently started going to the gym.
Nice, man, nice.
Trying to be consistent with it, man, and it felt cool too, because it's crazy. I used to never work out at all, man. I would, but not consistently at all. And it is nuts how much of a difference it makes in actually like making you feel motivated and energized, man. And it's not even so much that, I want to be like ripped or anything like that, man, but it's just, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel more inspired to do stuff, to be, more productive and stuff, I guess. And a little funny story, on Thanksgiving and stuff, I wore this shirt that it's a little tight on me now, but it showed a little bit of progress. And my mom and like my aunt, they were like, "Oh, I see that you're starting to get some progress there." And I was like, "Yes, finally, man!
There you go.
It's working, dude."
Now you'll probably be addicted now, though.
That's
now
what I'm
once you get a
saying.
little bit of progress, you're like,
Dude,
"Yeah, I need this."
Yeah, I went just this morning before we got on, man. Now, but if only girls could realize this progress now, man. Who knows?
It'll happen. It'll happen.
Hey, man. But Dan, man, I'm so excited for you.
Thanks,
I
man.
can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming out, man.
Yeah, man.
So much good stuff that we talked about today, man. Definitely one of my, I think, I felt good about this one, man.
Good, man. Hopefully, maybe like in the future, like we can do this again.
Dude.
Like when I'm extremely successful and you're extremely successful, we'll meet back up and do it again. So
I'm so down, and anything I could do to help spread word, man. You guys, great guy, man.
Oh my God.
So, if anything, I hope that everybody listening and watching this right now, if there's one thing that you could take away, it's that you've got this. Don't give up on your dreams. It's so easy to get stuck in that process of, working just to survive and everything, but if you take a little bit of time out of your off time, work towards the things you want to do, you can do anything, man.
Yeah, agreed. One thing that I thought about the other day is I have a buddy who makes good money. Yeah. Like I've done well, for the past 5 years, but he makes really good money.
Yeah.
And, I was telling him yesterday, we hung out, and I was like, here's the thing. I was like, your income is controlled by quite a few people.
Yeah.
They say that this is the most money you can make this year. You have a boss, you have a boss's boss, and, it goes all the way up. And these people determine how much money you make. But because I'm in business for myself, I determine how much money I can make.
Yeah.
So how hard I want to work, how much time I want to put into this business. And no offense, we need people to do those jobs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're essential. And like I said, my buddy makes a lot of money. So I don't see him walking away to start his own business anytime soon. But I like to think to myself that bro, I can be a millionaire. You know what I'm saying? I could do that. The only thing that's stopping me is me.
Yeah. Oh.
So, going with what you said, man, I 100% agree.
Perfect, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Mr. Daniel Patton of Slightlybuffguys Video Game Emporium. I am your host, Danny Giraffa, and this has been another episode of the Oregional Podcast.